Hi, my name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED, and this is Q5 Ham Radio. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while. I have Tim Duffy, CEO of DX Engineering. He's got a big event coming up, the Dayton Hamvention, but in addition to the Dayton Hamvention, he has Contest University, Contest Dinner. I'm not even sure how Tim does all that he does in ham radio, but I asked him if he could come aboard and give us some information about those events. Tim, thank you for joining me.
Great to be here. Thanks for asking me, Kevin.
So we're a month away from Dayton. Tell me about Contest University to begin. That is probably the event that I am most looking forward to. I attended last year. It was a great group of people.
Contest University in person has been going on for 17 years. And of course, during the 2 years of COVID, we did Contest University completely virtual online via Zoom and had over 3,000 participants on those live events. Contest University in Dayton is where it all began back in 2007. We're really looking forward to it this year. We've got over 20 different presentations that will be given at Contest University, and we have 5 new professors this year that have never talked at Contest University. So we have a lot of new material and a lot of things to share with contesters all over the world, because we will live stream select areas from Contest University live via Zoom as well, but we'll have over 300 students in attendance.
That's amazing. And I did see a list of the professors, and it was a very impressive list. Why don't you start with some of the newcomers? Give us a couple names and what they're going to be talking about.
I am really excited about each one of these new professors this year. I want to start with John Doerr, K3LR, who's got 2 presentations that he's going to give. And they're very important and very timely and chocked with a lot of information that contesters, whether you're beginning or kind of intermediate or an expert in contesting, you're going to find his stuff very informative. John has been on the board of directors of Contest University since the very beginning, and he is the director of the CQ Worldwide family of contests. So he's got a tremendous load on his shoulders just to take care of the CQ Worldwide contests and make sure that everything goes smooth, and it has. The results for the 2025 edition of CQ Worldwide CW and Phone just were produced, and they're live on the CQWorldwide.com website. And John is going to give 2 really good presentations. Then you have, we have a lot of focus on youth at Contest University, Kevin, because anyone who is 25 years old or younger and comes to Contest University comes tuition free. So the $85 that it costs to come into Contest University is paid for through a generous grant from the Northern California DX Foundation every year. And I think this year we're going to have upwards of 20, maybe even 25 youth that will attend. But we have a really good youth speaker. She's 21 years old, Violetta Latham KN2P. And she was just down at Papa Julia 2 Tango, which I know you're familiar with. And she was at a DXpedition in Echo 51. She is headed to South Georgia, and she's going to talk about how to continue to develop youth inside contesting and what gets them excited and some of the secrets for that. So those are just 2 out of the amazing 13 different professors we have.
Well, Violetta is certainly impressive. I've interviewed her here on Q5, and she is a force, not only in ham radio, but her accomplishments in aviation are just second to none. So really impressed that she's on the roster. Tim, you touched upon something that I want to explore a little bit further. I think there's a sense among some people that Contest University is only for the top operators in the world honing their skills, but you mentioned intermediate, beginner. Tell me more about that. Who is welcome and who's going to get something out of Contest University?
Anybody with any interest in contesting or in station building. So everybody builds a station, right? If you're on the air and active, you've assembled a station, and it might be 100 watts in a wire, and that's okay. There are things here at Contest University that you can learn about how to get the most out of your station. So, and there is a lot of focus on that, whether it's Frank Donovan talking W3LPL, talking about how to arrange your antennas, or Hal, another one of our new professors, N4GG, he's going to talk about connectors. He's going to talk about grassroots things that you can do inside your station to optimize it and make it better. Bob Wilson, N6TV, known as TV Bob, he's also got a lot of things about USB interfaces and how to get the components inside your station to work better. So there are things for beginners, intermediate, and experts, and we see the signups. People are coming from all over the world to Contest University to learn more about the hobby that they love.
Tim, one of the things I experienced last year that was somewhat unexpected, I went for the education and to learn more, and then I realized equally important was the camaraderie and the connections that I was able to make. People that I could call once I was back home to ask a question of as I'm building my station or I'm operating. Speak to that a little bit, the camaraderie that comes out of Contest University.
There's a lot of opportunity for getting together and talking with other people and meeting other people that are there. Whether it's the breakfast at the beginning, at 7 a.m. on Thursday morning of Contest University there at the Hope Hotel. And if you're staying at the Hope, the breakfast is part of your overnight stay package. If you're not staying at the Hope, that's okay. We have a breakfast voucher to give you. And then we do have 3 other breaks that are really timed to give you the maximum amount of time to actually talk to the professors, talk to other students, maybe guys that you've worked on the air before you can talk to. So we have 2 coffee breaks plus a lunch. So there's lots of opportunity.
So the other thing I want to talk about related to Dayton is the contest dinner. I went to that last year. Chris, KL9A, a member of the Q5 contest crew, spoke, gave an excellent presentation. Tell me about the longevity of the contest dinner, when it got started, but also what the goals are with the contest dinner.
The contest dinner was started back in 1992, and it was the brainchild of Scott Jones, N3RA, and myself. And what it was in the beginning, just real briefly, Kevin, was that on Saturday night, you would be down in the lobby of the hotel where the contesters would stay in Dayton. At that time, it was the Crown Plaza. And you were hoping to get invited to go with some of the cool kids, some of the good guys, some of the big contesters. And you were hoping, sort of like being picked for volleyball in grade school, right? Pick me, pick me. I hope that when K1AR and K1DG and K5ZD come by, that they say, hey, would you like to join us for dinner? And I always felt like, geez, if I'm not one of the cool kids, I still want to go to dinner with these guys and have fun and talk about the sport that I really love. And so in 1992, we started the contest dinner, and we thought, hey, it would really be great if we could get 100 guys. Well, we got 150. And now it tops out at over 500 people that attend the contest dinner. And it is a very, very important thing in the contest scheme of things, because this is where the Hall of Fame, the Contest Hall of Fame, is announced every year and celebrated. We have great door prizes as well. John Doerr, K1AR, is Master of Ceremonies. And this year, our speaker, as is tradition on the year of the WRTC, the chairman of WRTC gives the keynote speech. So this year will be Mark M0DXR, who is chairman of WRTC 2026. And he is a tremendous speaker. He is very apt at what he's doing for WRTC. It's a lot of work, and it's going to be a tremendous event for amateur radio contesting in July in the UK.
So, Tim, I almost don't dare ask, are there tickets available for contest dinner, or is it sold out?
No, there are still some tickets available. We will not have tickets at the door, though, Kevin, so you do need to get online. It's contestdinner.com is the URL to go to on the web, and you can get your dinner tickets, but don't delay, because we are close to a sellout. And also, don't forget about the Top Band dinner. If you like 160 meters, the Top Band dinner on Friday night, it's topbanddinner.com. And if you still need to sign up for Contest University, it's contestuniversity.com. And if you want to see all the Dayton activities around contesting, you just go to contestsupersuite.com. And so you got 4 websites in there to put on. Contestsupersuite.com gives you all the details on anything going on with contesting, all the way from the Wednesday through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If it's about contesting, it's on contestsupersuite.com.
So, Tim, I can't imagine that you were never one of the cool kids. I think you were always that guy that people wanted to go to dinner with. And speaking of which, I just read this great article about K3LR and your station by, I think it was Terry N2LQH. And I would recommend to anybody who wants to learn more about what you've done there at your station to check that article out. I think it's on your K3LR website. I'm not sure where else it can be found, but it was really well done article.
It's the things that you don't expect that sometimes just surprise the heck out of you. And certainly Terry, who, responded to one of my CEO letters about customer satisfaction here at DX Engineering, he wrote back and he said, hey, I had a relationship with your chef, WM2H, when he lived in New Jersey, when they both lived in New Jersey. And Terry still does live in New Jersey, and he said some very nice things about Sal, WM2H. And so I invited him out to a contest, which was the ARRL Phone DX contest last month at K3LR. He had a great time, and he wrote an article about it. And it is on the front page of the K3LR.com website, and you can click on the article by N2LQH. And Terry is a great chef. And he's a great organizer, an IT professional by trade. So he brought a lot of skills to the K3LR team, but I had no idea that he could write an article like that. And we're hoping to see that get published in some other places. But he'll be at Contest University for his first time as well, Kevin.
Well, it continues to amaze me that people that I meet in ham radio, even beyond their ham radio building and operating skills, the other skills that they have, life skills that they have, are just always blow me away. Tim, since we're talking about Dayton, DX Engineering has a huge presence at the Dayton Hamvention. I think you have for a long time. Tell us what you have in store for us at that at your booth.
Yes, we have the largest booth at the Hamvention. We're very proud of that because we're an Ohio-based company. This is our home show. We only do one show this big every year, and it's at Hamvention. Hamvention is a pillar of the amateur radio community and what we're all about. And we try to make sure that we help as many customers as possible. We use this to introduce all sorts of new products. And we've been actually I gave a presentation out in California last week on all the new products that we're going to show at Hamvention. And I'm really excited about that. I'll also have that on my Facebook and YouTube live stream tomorrow. I'm going to be giving that same presentation live, and so customers can ask questions as well. But our booth is different than a lot of booths, Kevin, because it's laid out a lot like if you go into an Apple store. It's very interactive. We have tables in the middle. Guys can hang out and just interact with the sales team and our support team. And you can place orders there for stuff. We do bring stock. It doesn't look like we do because it's behind the curtain, but we do have truckloads of material that we bring there so you can buy it and take it back. And of course, if we don't have it there at the show, but it's back in Talmadge or in Sparks, Nevada, we're going to ship it on Friday night. We're going to ship it on Sunday night. So you're going to get it just as soon as possible. And we do have show specials, like $50 off $500. If you have a $500 order, you're going to get $50 off at the show. So we try to give back and make sure that you have a good time at Hamvention and that you can buy the new stuff, the latest and greatest that we're manufacturing here at DX Engineering.
Well, Tim, you probably noticed my hesitation before I said the word booth, because I'm thinking in my head, it's not really a booth. It's not that traditional 10 by 10 where you awkwardly stand outside a table hoping you can get somebody's attention. when you go to DX Engineering presence at Dayton, you're amongst your team. I think last year you had a Jeep or some sort of setup there for a Parks on the Air portable presentation. You really feel as though you're part of the presence you put together. So I appreciate that correction. And I've got to say your customer service is par none. As I've sent to you, I had an issue with the CQ WPX single sideband contest, getting ready for that, and I worked with one of your team members, Kirk, and he resolved my issue within 24 hours. There was a truck backing up to my door. So I want to publicly say thank you to your team for helping me out, because that trip to Cayman Brac would have been a disaster without that one piece.
We have a lot of really, really good team members here. Kevin, I'm glad you brought that up. We have over 1,000 years of combined experience here at DX Engineering. And Kirk, K3LR, works out of his home in Tennessee. He's right now the only Tennessee employee for DX Engineering, but we're very proud to have him on the team. As, three-time gold medal winner, Jeff Steinman, N5TJ, he's on the team here at DX Engineering. So we got Phil, K3UA here. I mean, we've got some really top-notch guys, but Andy Pesky he's a very early Summit employee who became a ham and has been part of DX Engineering from almost day one. So we have all these team members that are very strong, contribute at a high level. I was on yesterday with Troy AC8OW, who was one of our POTA experts. We got Bobby W6IWN out in Nevada, out on taking care of things in Sparks, taking care of our customers out there, and he's on Summits on the Air. He's active. So that's a difference maker, where these guys are officers in their radio clubs. They're contributing to field days, to POTA operations, SOTA operations. So they've been there and done that, and they can relate that experience to our customers. And I think it's a unique thing between that and the shipping, our experience, our people, and our fast shipping. It's hard to beat, Kevin. It really is.
Well, not to mention the stickers that come with every package. I've got DX Engineering stickers all over my house. I want to underscore the point you're making, though, because, again, I lived this. All of that experience, what that did for me when I talked to Kirk, he knew exactly what I needed, and he knew why I needed it. And I think that second part is the important part. I hadn't mentioned that I was doing WPX, but somehow he just put all the facts together. I'm traveling to Cayman. I need this particular thing. And he put it together. You're doing a contest, and that contest is on Friday night. You need it tomorrow. And that was so helpful not to have to explain that to somebody. So again, I just want to commend you and your team for that. Tim, I want to take advantage of the fact that I have you on camera. I know we were here to talk about Dayton, but we have a lot of things coming up for the year, including WRTC. Can you just give our viewers a sense of what the rest of the year holds in the ham radio community, including WRTC?
Yeah, so there's some really exciting things. Right after the Dayton Hamvention is the WPXCW contest, which is a great event held right at the end of May. So you get a whole different set of propagation because of the time of the year it is. So there's a lot of activity that will happen in the WPXCW contest. And you can find more information at cqwpx.com. And then Field Day. Field Day is the largest operating event here in the U.S. and Canada. Many teams will be out having fun, clubs, gatherings, having fun, doing Field Day at the end of June. And then WRTC over in the UK, WRTC 2026, just Google it and you can get to the website. If you want to be a visitor, you can participate like that, or you can get on the air and work the stations that will be active during the IARU Radio Sport Championship. The WRTC is an overlay, and the WRTC stations will have special call signs, and there will be a live scoreboard that is showing how the WRTC stations are doing, and we certainly can talk about that later on. But that is a tremendous celebration. on the heels of a very successful WRTC that occurred in Italy in 2023. Where it's going for 2030, we don't know yet, but we'll learn at the end of the WRTC 2026 closing ceremonies when the WRTC 2030 will be announced. And then you get into the Worked All Europe contest that occurs in August, and you get into the RTTY, CQ Worldwide RTTY in September. Also, don't forget about the Worldwide Digi Contest that is in August. And I would be remiss, because N2NC is a big part of the VHF contests that occur both under the CQ banner in July, and the ARRL has their big VHF contest in June. So there's a lot of operating activities, and W1AW Portable is going on all this year in celebration of the America's 250, the 250th celebration. W1AW is moving state by state every week, so that's a great operating activity. You've got Parks on the Air every day that is going on, and you know, Kevin, that is just continues to explode with activity and popularity. So many things going on in the greatest hobby in the world.
So I've got an idea. You have a clue about where the WRTC 2030 is going to be. Any hints for us?
No hints at all. It's sort of like when guys ask me, well, what's the latest radio gear? I'm thinking about buying a radio, but if you know, does Yaesu or Kenwood or ICOM, are they coming out with something new that they're going to show at Dayton? And everybody holds their cards close. Same thing for WRTC. The committee that takes care of that is working on that. I know they are. There's a lot of ideas being thrown around, but who knows where it's going to end up. But I do know this, Kevin, it's going to be different than where it was before, and it's going to be really good.
Okay, final question. What are the big issues facing ham radio today that you're having conversations about? For example, during the last contest, there was some conversation about AI voices entering the contest. What are the topics that you're hearing about, and how do you feel about those?
I think all this stuff is really, really good. AI entering various parts of the contesting fray. I mean, that's a natural thing for amateur radio to introduce and adopt new technology. I mean, we wouldn't have memory keyers or voice keyers. And you look about some of the performance of the radio equipment has really been driven by contesting. And so, the radios that we have today are so much better than the radios we had 40 years ago, 50 years ago. And those radios still work today, and they can operate, but the performance of the receivers, the focus on cleaning up transmitters, I think that's really a great thing that's going on with, pre-distortion, and we're starting to see adaptation by some of the manufacturers. We're seeing some really, I had lunch last week with Eric from Elcraft, and he's got some exciting ideas that are still coming on the table. DX Engineering is working with Flex hand in hand now. Ray Novak will be here in 2 weeks at DX Engineering, and we're going to be talking to him about some of the exciting new things going on at ICOM. So it's a great time to be in this hobby. And, I think we have to make sure that we're using our spectrum. I had dinner last Saturday night with Dave K3ZJ, who is the head legal counsel for the ARRL. He's working on a lot of things. His plate is completely full, and the ARRL is front and center to make sure that the FCC is well tuned in to the needs of amateur radio. So there are a lot of threats there. I'm talking to John Stratton, N5AUS, about some of the exciting work going on in the HOA bill that is, coming before Congress. So that's exciting as well. And then Parks on the Air. Can't get enough of that. Just cannot get enough of that. And how does Parks on the Air integrate with contesting. And how do we get the two of them really linked up and working together? And then, as we said here a few minutes ago, there was a great presentation out at Santa Maria with the DX convention hosted by N6TJ and N6AA and NE6I. And Violetta was out there talking about how youth can be incorporated more into amateur radio. And so many things going on that are good. We have youth tables at the contest dinner. It's a free dinner. If you're 25 years or younger, you just have to get in touch with Violetta, who's taking care of that. And of course, she's out in Colorado Springs, living her dream. Amateur radio and flying. Man, what an exciting time.
Well, Tim, you touched upon two things that are really important to me, young people in AM radio. And it's interesting, as soon as I put the call out for young people to get in touch with me over a year ago, I've had a steady list of people on the show on Q5. So I do think from that standpoint, ham radio is alive and well within the youth community. And a lot of that credit goes to you and people like Bill Schmidt down at J6UK and others, but also Parks in the Air. There is more and more intersection, as you mentioned, with contesting. I just interviewed N3QE, who lives in Maryland, as you know, and he is getting on a plane to travel to Florida so that he can operate the Florida QSO party from Parks on the Air Park. So before, I mean, maybe 7 months ago, I was looking for people that were intersecting the two. Now people are coming to me, and it's almost, of course I would do that. Why wouldn't I do it? And I just love that. Underscoring again something you said, I think it is all about innovation and experimentation, right? That's what ham radio is about. So when the topic of AI voices comes up, it really does fit neatly in that, well, sure, let's try this out. Let's see how we can perfect it. So I do appreciate your opinion on it. So many things that I could continue to talk about, but I know your time is limited, and hopefully I can have you back soon. But Tim, I really appreciate you joining me today on Q5.
Kevin, it's always great to talk to you. Thank you for all the outreach you do and the difference that you're making in this hobby. Your contribution is at a high level, and it's very well noticed and very well appreciated. So anything that we can do together, I'm really excited about Wednesday night at the Hope Hotel, where Q5 will be hosting the pizza party that is the night before Contest University. So this is the first year for Q5 to host the pizza party. And, it's going to be a great thing, 10:30 on Wednesday night. And so make sure that you get your reservation in for Contest University, get signed up, and come to Hamvention and have a great time.
Thank you, Tim. I'll let you get back to work, okay? My name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED. This is Q5 Ham Radio. I've been joined by Tim Duffy, CEO of DX Engineering. Please come to Dayton. See us there, see the Q5 booth, go to the DX Engineering presence, sign up for Contest University. There's so much to do, so many people to meet. 73.